We are entering the final phases of Pokemon's 151, a personal favorite of mine, many people's favorite from Scarlet and Violet, a lot of people's favorite of all time. I know it is my son's favorite. I'd say it's definitely in my top 3 overall. Depending on the day, it's my number 1. Guys, if you haven't seen the prices of 151, it is insane. My son picked up this Blastoise PSA 10 for I think $270 just a month ago or so. And now it's nearing $500 on eBay. It doesn't even make sense at this point. Charizard's going crazy. I think Alakazam. Let me know what your favorite Pokemon from 151 is. But it has been unstoppable at this point. The sealed product, the singles, it doesn't matter. Oh my goodness. Let's just talk about it. Real quick, if you haven't noticed, Phantasmal Flame ETB non-Pokemon Center is going for $175. This is pre-order, so obviously this will change. Who knows? Take your votes right now. What do you think the price of the ETB and the Pokemon Center going for $600 pre-sale? Again, this is going to change. What do you think it's going to end up being when it does release? I'm going to say about half of that. So we'll see what happens. Who knows? We're nearing 300 subscribers, so please like this video and consider subscribing. 151's release date was 22 September of the year 2023, which means in just a few days from now, when you're watching this video, we are into the 3rd year of production for 151. Now, yesterday, September 18th, Target did release some Blooming Waters. It wasn't a huge stock, but you're starting to see less and less Blooming Waters, really 151 in general. Let me know how it is at your local Targets and other areas, but it is getting very difficult to pick up 151. I couldn't find any official information on 151 goes out of print. However, a Google search and some other research states that generally or typically for print runs, they last about 1.5 years to 3 years. That is pretty typical, but yeah, nothing official. Though as we're going into the 3rd year, you should expect that there won't be much more of this to go around. Now, 151 is constantly compared to Prismatic Evolutions, and that's what we're going to look at real quick. The release date for Prismatic Evolutions is less than 1 year old at January 17th, 2025. So still a good amount of printing left to happen for Prismatic, though hopefully won't be as much as it is right now with Costco and Sam's Club. Another very common comparison I see is 151 versus Destined Rivals, which I think is kind of crazy to compare the two, considering this just came out May 30th of this year, just months ago. I think we need to pump the brakes a little bit for sure. I don't know if they're really in the same category just yet. Not saying that they won't be long term, but at the moment, it's a little crazy to compare the two. So looking at the sealed product for 151, my goodness, unopened with free shipping, this pack is going for $15.48. Crazy to think about. In the last month, a single pack is up 43%. Just on the 22nd of August, it was just $10. In the last 3 months, it is up 40%. In the last 6 months, 58%. And if you want to overachieve, look at the 1 year there, 117% gains on just a single pack. Discussing the ETB for 151, the cheapest that you will find on TCG is $395. So approaching that $400 mark. In the last month, this is up 22%. In the last 3 months, it is up 61%. In the last 6 months, it is up 92%. And in the last year, it is up 355%. Looking at the Pokemon Center ETB, we are nearing that $1,000 mark at $992. In the last month, that's over a 16% increase. 3 months, that's nearing 90%. 6 months, 102%. And in the last year, 473%. Just in September, this was $167. Let that sink in. You guys got to let me know, in 1 year, is this justified? Going from 167 all the way to nearing $1,000. We, of course, couldn't talk about the 151 without talking about the UPC that sat on shelves for a very long time at MSRP. The cheapest that you're going to be able to find is nearing $600. In the last month, that is a 30% increase. 3 months is 55% increase. 6 months is 73% increase. And in the last year, that is a 307% markup. September of last year, this was just $146. And now, again, we are approaching $600. Blooming Waters would be the best to open pack. This will cost you about $160 shipped. By far, without question, 12 packs. It's going to be the best bang for your buck. Now, you could argue there isn't that collectability with 151. I totally understand that. Though, as far as affordability, I know a lot of my friends love to show this off. You know, they're not just throwing it in a closet somewhere. They love to display it. And I get it. It's a beautiful case. It is bulky. It is not for everyone, but sub $200. It's affordable. A lot of people cannot get the ETB. They certainly cannot get the Pokemon Center ETB. So knowing that any moment you could open this, pretty cool feeling. And it's the most affordable thing you could get besides like a pack or something smaller. Let me know how much Blooming Waters is going for in your local area. They're going for about 130 in mine. In the last month, it is up 21%. 3 months is up over 36%. 6 months is over 29%. And in the last year, there's just not enough data for this. So now let's discuss the chase cards. What is it that is making people fall in love with 151 besides money? I mean, obviously that's a big part of it, but what's really inside of 151? 151 has 16 illustration rares, just 7 SIRs, and 3 hyper rares. But really what makes it so special? Of course, it is the original 151. And I have noticed more than ever that younger kids, including my kids, really prefer the first gen. It's crazy to think about that 30 years later, after gen 2, 3, 4, 5, when we open up Black Bolt, White Flare, that's not what people are interested in. At least my kids and the kids that I see, they are still interested in the original 151. And it just shows you how good Pokemon was back then and continues to be when they released Gen 1. This Charmander is beautiful. I love this thing in real life. The colors on this Squirtle, when you have this in hand, the blue, the ocean, man, it is gorgeous. And honestly, most of these cards have been shooting up significantly. This Pikachu, I swear, was like a $20 card, and now I think it's like a $40, $45 card, depending on condition. One of the few cards that my son and I have not completed just yet is Machoke, and it's pretty cool looking. I mean, come on, it's very different than what we're used to for Machoke, but the art is good. Dragonair swimming under some stairs. Come on now, how would you not want this? And of course, the 7 SIRs, I mean, how could we not talk about these? This Charizard EX, I believe, is already doubled in price, both for raw. Maybe not so much as the PSA, but the PSA is still going up. The PSA 10, even 9s are going up. This is just an iconic Charizard. Mega's coming out, right? Everybody's talking about it. I get it. The hype's out there for sure. Venusaur, I think, is like $72 now, and this really wasn't an expensive card at all. Honestly, none of these cards were very expensive. The Blastoise, same thing with the Squirtle. The blues just pop. I really like this one. Not the best Blastoise of all time, in my opinion, but still a very nice Blastoise. The Zapdos is finally getting the respect that it deserves. I've always felt like this was a beautiful card. I love the 3 birds. I love the yellows popping. You got the red, the yellow, the blue. It's beautiful. I love it. I have heard people say that this is the best Alakazam of all time. Again, right, it's really hard to say what your favorite is versus mine. I think it's really cool. I love, I don't know, potions. I like how he's just bending these spoons here. I like the clock. I like the look of it, the feel of it, the light-hearted kind of vibes. This trainer here for Giovanni's charisma. Come on, how could you not want this? That's a Meowth grown up for Team Rocket, just kind of reminiscing, looking out the window. There's some beautiful SIRs in 151. The EX cards are okay. They're not bad at all. I mean, they're kind of the same thing you've seen a million times, but definitely not bad at all. EX cards are never going to be like the greatest thing ever. Full arts are pretty good as well, in my opinion. So yeah, I can't really complain about this set. As far as the hyper rares, this is, in my opinion, the best one. This is the Mew. Gorgeous card, very affordable, significantly harder to get than the SIRs, though it doesn't really get a lot of love, especially at just $20, even though this is up a lot, because it is up a lot. We got to be honest here. In the last month, it is up 17%. In the last 3 months, nearing 60%. In the last 6 months, 53% gains. And in the last year, 116%. Now, even though this is up over 100% at just $20, is that not a pretty good deal? I think it's good. So what? Worst case goes to $10. Best case, it goes to $50 or something. Nice to have. Affordable, pretty much anybody can get this. I think it's a sleeper for sure. I took the pull rates from a TCG article. Take it with a grain of salt, but I bet you it's pretty close. You're going to want to look at the 3 highlighted here. The illustration rare, you have about an 8.5% chance to get an illustration rare. So pretty good. 1 in 12 packs is bound to have one. To get an SIR from 151, you have a 3.11% chance, which is pretty fantastic. That means 1 in 32 packs statistically should have an SIR. You don't know which one it's going to be, but considering there's only 7 of them, getting the one you want isn't going to be the most difficult thing in the entire world. And the hyper rare, again, this is the Mew that I showed you, much more difficult to get than the SIR at just 1.94%, and that's 1 in 51 packs versus the SIRs, which is 1 in 32. So if we were discussing rarity, yes, that Mew is going to be way harder to get, especially in a good grade, versus some of these other SIRs from 151. Mark my words, $20 is way too cheap for that card. And here you're going to see Prismatic Evolutions pull rate versus 151. You'll see it's much harder to get an SIR at just 2.22%, which doesn't sound like a much, but 3% is about a 50% increase. And this goes up to 1 in 45 packs for an SIR in something like Prismatic. The hyper rares for Prismatic, yeah, good luck, guys. Less than 1% at just 0.56. And that comes to just 1 in 180 packs will get a hyper rare. So what really sets 151 apart from a lot of other sets that are coming out? Obviously, it's the Gen 1 Pokemon. These are eternal. Everyone still loves these cards, and it's older people like myself. The kids still really love it, but it's not just something like Celebrations where it's reprinted, because even my son, even when my daughter looks at like the old Charizard, they're like, yeah, that's Charizard, right? But they don't have that nostalgia that we do. But when they change him flying through the sky, or they make the Blastoids underwater and the blues really pop out, or the Squirtle pops out, they see that Pokemon. It's still a popular Pokemon for them, and they love the new spin on it. So I think it's great for OGs, for those older people. It's great for the younger people. Everybody just seems to like the new spin on it. It's not the exact same Blastoise or Venusaur or Ivysaur that you've seen 6 million times. It is those Pokemon, but in a totally different light. And it's actually a much easier set compared to something very painful like Prismatic. I'm not saying it's the best pull rate of all time, but hey, at only 7 SIRs, like, you're statistically have a good chance of getting the Pokemon that you want, unless you're just opening a couple packs, then hey, fair enough. But you know, you open up a Blooming Waters or 2, which is super expensive, I know, but you have a good chance of getting one of those 7 SIRs. Certainly of the IRs, you should get a couple of them. It's a very rewarding experience for sure. I think for everybody, when you open it and you get a Charmander and you get a Squirtle, that's a really good feeling, as opposed to, again, like Prismatic, where you're like, oh man, I got nothing for the 6,000th time. And it's also really nice knowing that the prices are going up so much, considering it's in the 3rd year, or about to be in the 3rd year in just a few days. Actually really sad to think about, just knowing that 151 is going away and we're not going to get another chance, right? How many more Blooming Waters are going to come out? How many more Zapdos boxes are going to come out? How much more is left? It seems like we're going to look back on this 5, 10, 20 years from now, and we're going to say, do you guys remember back in the day when 151 came out and how good that felt? Like, it's really sad to think about, man. But hey, all good things must end eventually. Overall, big fan of 151. I love seeing its success. It's one of those things, like, if you already are in it, you're so excited because, man, it doesn't matter what you own. It is probably doubled, if not tripled, for certain things, depending on if it's graded or raw or which one it was. Hyper rares, still very, very cheap. Nobody's even thinking about them. I think the other 2 hyper rares go for like $5. So yeah, the Mew being the most expensive at 20, I think is an easy pickup. Why not pick up all 3? Worst case, you lose a little bit of money. I think you can get all 3 for about $30 if you were to buy them in person or locally or something. So definitely, man, if all the IRs, all the SIRs, everything else is pumping, why would the hyper rares at some point not see some kind of appreciation? ETBs are going crazy. Blooming Waters is up so much. It doesn't matter what you have for 151. I didn't even talk about booster bundles. Unfortunately, I kind of didn't really have the time, but you kind of get the point here, man. Good things are coming to an end, and I don't know. Will you get another chance? Yeah, if there's a bear run, you probably will get another chance at a lot of these. But hey, if you're a collector, just know there isn't much more time. But I would love to hear from all of you. What do you rank 151? Yeah, like I said, man, definitely top 3 for me, for sure. The nostalgia factor, it's hard to beat that in a new spin. So if you guys made it to the end of the video, please put in #coffee, #coffee. Then I'll know you actually watched the full video, and I'll actually reply to your comment, because some people like to troll and just see the title and just comment. So I appreciate all of you guys, man. Road to 300 subscribers, eventually 500 and 1,000 subscribers. We are not giving up. And then soon enough, I will be opening up my online Pokemon store. So thank you so much. DJ's Poke Center, signing out.